Hello, team. Hello, team. Hello, family. Hello, Break the Cycle. Hello, Adonai Community Mission number one, two, three, and four. Hello, all of the different organizations and companies and entities. As you can see on the screen, this is my main man, Dame Dash. And 2025 is a pivotal year for Break the Cycle. 2025 is a pivotal year for um, a group that I was in, a hip hop group that I was in. We were in Huntsville, Alabama, and we were at a university in Huntsville, Alabama that my grandparents, my parents, and my family going back well into the 1800s all go to this university in the South. And because this university is a music and an arts university, it is a fine arts and performance arts university. The only difference between Juilliard in New York and this entity never, ever, ever created the commercialized place where the public could come and consume what it is they teach. Juilliard has a pipeline directly to Broadway, and they also have a pipeline directly to Hollywood. Matter of fact, Thomas Edison tried to land in my city, Trenton, New Jersey. And because my ancestors was already there, there was no room for Thomas Edison to set up RCA Records and for Warner Brothers and for Kodak and for Max Factor and all of those that ended up going west. They all went west during the so-called gold rush. But everybody wanted to be in New Jersey, not New York, New Jersey. What y'all don't know is New York was the number one British slave port in the world. For colonialism and imperialism, New York was the number one. Jamestown, Virginia was the number two. New York was a slave trading port, and it's not attached to the mainland, so it has its own separate set of laws. Just like New Orleans has its own separate set of laws. If you look into the research of New Orleans, Louisiana, you will find that New Orleans has its own set of laws. Because New York is not attached to the land, New York is ruled by what they call maritime law, or land that's in the water. just like the United Kingdom, England and Wales and Ireland. They are not connected to the mainland of Europe. They are islands. And the reason that we know all of this is because those islands were given names and inherited by the firstborn son of Noah, Japheth. Japheth inherited all of the isles. Now, why would I know this? Why is this important? Because my grandmother, this is what you're being hired to hand down a will and commandments that my grandmother all my life talked to me about. She passed away a couple years ago, and we are going to execute the desires of why she lived and fought all her life in honor to honor my grandmother and my grandmothers. I'm talking about my father's mother, who kept repeating a specific text. There's a text in the Bible that says, just like in the days of Noah, Matthew 24. Just like in the days of Noah. And so my grandma would always say to me, when's my yacht coming in? Matthew 24 is talking about the last events of Earth's history. And it says that the last events of Earth's history are going to repeat in the beginning events of Earth's history. And there's going to be groups of individuals who are going to get to go into an ark and then get to go to heaven. So my grandma was always identifying with the group that would go into the ark. And so she was commanding me to be the Noah that built the ark and that put its family in the ark and made sure that his family had a covenant with God to where when the storm came, my grandma was saying based off of Matthew 24, go build my ark. I, I'm gonna let you do all the work. I'm gonna let you get the covenant and let you. It said Noah was perfect in his generation, and Noah planted a vineyard. So Noah had all of the lands. He had all of the building material. He had everything to start the world over again after the flood came. And he had the perfect covenant, perfectly relationship with God to where all his children and everybody got to go in. So my grandma kept saying to me, be Noah in your generation. Build me my yacht club. So break the cycle is finished. The yacht club is finished. The covenant, everything is done. My kids are the age, just like Noah. He utilized his kids to execute the commandment and the covenant to be able to build the ark. They were the actual foremen and all of that. And so what we're doing here today is we putting in a schedule, putting in our weekly schedule, our monthly schedule, our 90-day schedule, our annual schedule. And I'm handing the reins over to my mother's 5 grandbabies. everything will be. This is her starting five. Her starting five. All right. And then the starting five, just like you guys are the Masterpiece Mind Group, the starting five are representatives and archetypes for 16 cornerstone family groups, 16 different gemstones. So these five of my mother's grandchildren. Her starting five. They are the bridge. They are the bridge between Break the Cycle and our investments and our resources. This is the will. Break the Cycle is a will. Break the Cycle is a 5 different foundations, 5 different land banks, a land bank for each one of the babies, an actual endowment fund with beneficiaries and dividends. And you guys are the trustees, and these babies are the trustees, and there's 16 individual cornerstone gems. My mother's sisters, each branch of my family tree is this gemstone. Every last name in my family and my wife's family are these 16 different gemstone family groups. And so this weekly schedule and this monthly schedule and this 90-day schedule and then this annual schedule is the orderly process of everybody claiming their inheritance and will, and then joining my 5 children and Break the Cycle employees and executives in continuing to do the dream that my grandmother challenged me to do and wanted me to do in her life, that we're going to do in her honor, in their honor. All right. So, with that said, we are launching Hollywood Studios. That's the motion pictures. And then we're launching The Narrow Way, opposite of Broadway. The Narrow Way. All right. That's for live plays. We also are launching 5 specific schools. Just like Hollywood and Broadway have Juilliard, we have a school called One Love IMG, single IMG. One Love single IMG. Single IMG means the dazzling image of glory. Single IMG. One Love single IMG. The dazzling image of glory. All right. Our our tagline name for our school, just like there was a movie, we're gonna shoot a movie. They shot a movie called Fame. that Janet Jackson was in. They went down into Hollywood and did a Hollywood movie called Fame, and Janet Jackson was in that. And then they went off to Broadway and they did a recurring series on Fame. We're going to do the same thing on our network, Hollywood Network. Our motion capture, our motion picture, the opposite of fame is renown. They have Juilliard that created Fame, and then a Broadway television series off of Fame. And Janet Jackson was in the movie Fame. And we creating Mrs. Renown. MRS, not MISS. Mrs. Renown. The opposite of fame is renown. And then we're going to go off to our off-Broadway series. And we're going to create a series off of Mrs. Renown. All right? So I'm about to interview my main man, Dame Dash. Because my name is Damon, and my history in track, I've been a track star. My number one sport was football. My number two love and passion was basketball. But I played baseball on a high level, track and field on a high level, football on a pro level, basketball on a pro level, volleyball on a pro level. So the reason why we have this ability to launch a network around sports and fitness and pro recreation is because all my life, my family has dominated in professional, college and professional levels in these major sports. All right. But this southeastern corner of the country is where all of the branches of my family originally originated at prior to the 1700s. We moved up to New Jersey 1700s. But prior to the 1700s, my family was in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, New Orleans, Texas. This bottom southeast corner had several pivotal wars. The 70 Years' War, before there was a American Civil War. Go back and you look. There's a 70 Years' War. Multiple incursions down here in the southeast corner. And they tried to say that there was this one guy leading the rebellion. His name is John Horse. And Horse is not his last name. John's Bride Cavalry. John, the same John the Revelator. John, the same John of the book in Revelation. He had another brother named James, our King James. Is James and John, John of the book of Revelation, James of the book of James in the New Testament. These are two brothers. Why do we say John's bride, Calvary? Because in another film that we're going to reshoot, The Passion, we're going to refilm The Passion. The Passion of the one Michael Jordan. The Passion of the one Michael Jordan. The Passion of the one Mike. And in The Passion of the one Mike, the son looks down at his mother and says, "Mother, this is your son." Talking about John, who would write the book of Revelation. Said, "Mother, this is your son. The ones that you gave birth to, the other males that you gave birth to, are dead to us." Because they stood in the crowd and said, "Crucify him," with the rest of the people. But James and John, he called them the sons of thunder, have not left my side for the past 3 years. When the sons that you gave birth to have been nowhere to be found in 3 whole years. They had the sons that you gave birth to, they didn't do not one miracle. They haven't helped one person. They haven't. Those who do the work of my Father are our family group. And these two right here, James and John. So what he's also saying is, they may harm me, but I'm not letting nothing happen to my mama. I'm going to put my mama in the hands of individuals so that when she loses her son, the rest of her life, she will be pampered. So this is what my grandma was talking about. When you serve and when you sacrifice and when you sacrifice and when you give, at the end of your life, these queens are supposed to get something that we call Emmanuel. Emmanuel is the pampering, is the yacht club pampering that son arranged for his mama with his true brothers that put in work. So I have put in work for 30 years with my true brothers and sisters. And when my grandma died, I had a 13-year-old nephew that died right after her. His name is Sean. And during his preparation for his funeral, I declared to my family and the world, no more trauma, no more harm, no more pain, no more. From here on out, the people that have served with me, I don't care what happens in the world, no more, no more pain. Not for this group. For 30 years, my wife, my kids, and my brothers and sisters that I'm introducing break the cycle to, we are going to fulfill the promise that says, I'll wipe every tear from your eye. No more pain, no more suffering. That time is now for minds that served. This is the well done, not good and faithful servant. You have been faithful. This is a victory lap for those who have served with us. And what I love about what I'm about to show y'all, what these interviews that I'm about to do with Dame Dash will explain the backdrop of the points and the dates and the things on the calendar. So when we hire other people to execute, this is the backdrop. So when we show up at 9 a.m. and 6 a.m. and we break down the shifts and the schedules and the 90-day game plans and the weekly schedules and all of that, this challenge is our top selling asset that we have with Eric, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. It's a conference. It's called Just Own It. In the conference, we have a Just Own It formula. And I've taken the Just Own It formula and I've created a financial PhD. My wife, my mother, while I was at Full Sail, this is a textbook from Full Sail, my music history textbook. My sound dynamics textbook. Then my mother took her economics. She went to school. She was a double major. She was a music major, a pianist, and a vocalist of the greatest choir in the world, the Aeolians, under Eurydice Osterman and Alma Blackman. Eurydice Osterman taught my mother, myself, and my sister concert piano. My mother was also a vocalist in the Aeolians and the Way Back When Chorale at Oakwood University. Two world renowned and one greatest choir in the world still to this day, the Aeolians. That was one major, her music. And then she had a business degree in early childhood education, school systems, building school systems in the beginning of childhood development, early childhood education. So once when I was in the bachelor's program at Full Sail, and she kept seeing people go on Full Sail after going to Full Sail and doing videos about it would be a waste of money. It was a waste of money. And my mom said, sit down, son, and we're going to prove that it's about hustle. If you don't have no hustle, it don't matter what school you go to. It don't matter how many degrees you get. If you can't build a network. And if you don't know the just own it formula, and if you don't know how to hustle, more importantly, in that economics and in our financial PhD, we teach you what they don't even teach you in master's programs in business. They don't teach you the supernatural wealth building principle, economic principle. They teach the concept in economics. They don't teach economics, investment economics, even in the bachelor's and the master's programs. Nowhere. The so called number one business program, business school in the world supposedly is Wharton Business School that they claim Donald Trump went to at Penn State University. And even they don't have a PhD. Nobody has a PhD. And our business PhD is based off of teaching you what my mom learned in her economics course, that you are supposed to use the principle, the economic principle of compounding interest. You cannot go to work and beat compounding interest. But when they do annual projections for their markets, for instance, we're in the video game industry. We have our own video game company. And they project that the video game industry is going to be, in 2030, it's going to be worth $168 billion in 5 years. They could tell you how much it actually generated in 2024. And they use compounding interest to calculate the projections of what it's going to be. And how can they use compounding interest to calculate their projection? Because they're using compounding interest in their investments. And so they're getting returns that have compound interest. But when you go to work and they pay you, you don't get compound interest. So the reason that our people are poor is because our people have not been taught how to harness compounding interest to build their wealth and be free financially. That's what the conference Just Own It. That's what we gave the world. This is what we are here to give the world. To show you how you can harness, instead of putting your money in a 401k, in CDs, in stocks that go into their hedge funds, and then they use compounding interest once you give them your money, and they give you a regular return, and they've compounded the lion's share of your money for them. We show you how to cut out the middleman and compound your money yourself and keep all of your profits and don't give it to anybody. That's what this conversation is with my main man, Dame Dash. Dame Dash is here. He has his base of operations right here in Florida. Now, Winter Haven, Florida. The reason I'm doing this interview with him is because I coach championship basketball team in Winter Haven. The league that we're relaunching this year, and we're doing the One Love IMG neighborhood games. We just finished it. We just finished it December the 14th through December 21st. Dame Dash now has his base of operations here in Florida. And what you're going to hear is he is challenging 50 Cent. So I'm about to interview my main man, Dame Dash, right now. And we're going to talk about this challenge because he's in the heart of, this is the heart of Florida. It's the bravest heart of Florida. Only Lion Kings come down here. My great, 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 great grandfather, John's bride, Calvary, was right here. They call it the I-4 corridor. Goes from Tampa to Daytona. Tampa, Florida is on the western coast, the inner coast of Florida. And Daytona Beach, Florida is on the outward eastern coast that faces Africa and faces the Atlantic Ocean. Winter Haven, Florida is right here, central. On that same, in the middle of that Tampa and Daytona I-4 corridor sits Orlando, Florida. Smack dab in the middle, in between Daytona Beach and Tampa, Florida. And when you go an hour, a little towards Tampa Beach, Tampa Bay, then you hit Disney, what they call Kissimmee. And in that little area, Kissimmee, Florida, Point Siena, Haines City, Winter Haven, where Dame Dash is, then you also have the queen of hip hop, Faith Evans, was born right here in Lakeland, Florida. Just the same spot, same I-4 corridor. Faith Evans, who married Biggie Smalls. Faith Evans was born right here in Lakeland, Florida, then moved to Newark, New Jersey. Just like my ancestors started here and then moved to Trenton, New Jersey. There's a pattern. Faith Evans is from Lakeland. Dame Dash is right here in Winter Haven. And we got everything else. And so we're going to talk about the true history of hip hop that I've documented in this One Love IMG. This One Love IMG annual festival that we're planning right now for 2025. This is what this week is. Every year after we finish our festival, we begin planning next year. So this is what this week is. The planning phase of the One Love IMG Hip Hop Symphony Orchestra Neighborhood Game. The neighborhood Game of Thrones. We trying to see which hip hop neighborhood is the best. Is it Haines? Is it Winter Haven, where Dame Dash has his home base now? Is it Lakeland, where Faith Evans? Which of these hip hop neighborhoods? Is it Haines City, where my kids played and represented and won championships? Is it Orlando? Is it Paramore? Is it Paramore, another neighborhood that I coached when my kids first came down here? Is it Washington Shores, where my right hand man, pro Chucky Atkins, who won championships with the Detroit Pistons, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, that Detroit Pistons team that won the championship, Chucky Atkins from right here from Orlando, Florida, coached my oldest daughter, Deja. Chucky Atkins, Washington Shores, the Smith Center. Is that the hip hop neighborhood that's the best? What about Pine Hills, with my right hand man, Chris Johnson, from the Tennessee Titans, fastest NFL, fastest player in the NFL, Chris Johnson, right here from Orlando, Pine Hills. Used to work out and play with Chris Johnson. Shorties from my school that I coach in my basketball camp went to the same high school that Chris Johnson supports and works out, Jones. We got two high schools in Orlando, Jones High School and Evans High School, and my shorties is in both of them. I coach shorties in all three of these neighborhoods: Paramore, Washington Shores, Pine Hills, and let's not forget Eatonville. So all over the country, all over Florida, top to bottom, we taking official hip hop individuals like Dame Dash, and we gonna take the neighborhoods that we raised our kids in, that y'all was born in, that y'all played football in and basketball in, and then we're going to join this challenge right here. We're gonna join the challenge, and we're gonna use our league to separate true hip hop based off of business verticals, based off of who transforms your neighborhood financially. That's what this interview is about. And this is what our schedule is going to be on. Each one of these points that he makes when he's challenging 50 Cent, 50 Cent tried to call him out and tried to say that he broke. And the challenge defines what's broke, what's ownership, what's hip hop, what's fake rap, what's being a stand up king, and whatever is the opposite of that. And this is the challenge that we've made. And everything that he's challenging 50 to do, I'm challenging you and Break the Cycle to reward my children, my brothers and sisters, my wife, and all of these organizations who've done everything that he's saying 50 Cent don't have the ability to do that we've been doing for 30 years. All right, let's go.